Might be live. Directing, yes. Before we go too nuts, so we don't have echo. And it looks like we are live. And we are live recording from Arlington, New York. Yeah, we're Arlington, New York. Arlington, Vermont. Lived in it across the border a little bit too long, I guess. This is Happy Valley Hobbies. I'm Mr. Katie, and these are hobbies that make me happy. We're going to focus today on model trains, but we will take a sneak peek. Let's see. A real short sneak peek after I put up the chat up so you see people on. Yeah, unfortunately, a lot of this stuff you can't do until you actually go live, and then it's like, okay, now we can move stuff around. Be nice to be able to do it ahead of time, but I haven't figured that out yet. But we'll first do the newest toy that I have, which is I have mounted it on let's see, there's fire. My newest toy, which I'm learning out, is this Microlux by Micromark lathe. It is finally mounted permanently onto the tool chest that I originally bought for it. I thought it was going to be, I do have a Harbor Freight workbench, which I think would have been looking nicer and all that, but since that's bolted together, it's really, really wobbly. So that's why I decided to put it back onto this, which it's on wheels, so it can be moved and all that. But at the same time, still trying to figure out all the little adjustments and all that, because you can't put a there were some assembly required on this, so it's one of those things I need to turn around and now go and making sure everything is nicely adjusted and all that. So I've been watching different YouTube videos to figure out which ones are up. Well, hello, Plumber 33. Well, as I'm explaining, I'm showing off where I got the final location of where my lathe is going to be. But right now, I'm still trying to figure out where to put all the stuff that belongs with the lathe, with the lathe. Trying to, figure out how to basically reorganize, mostly reorganizing this drawer, because right now it has mostly model train stuff in it. All over the place and all that. However, it's probably not the smart idea to have it right next to something that makes a lot of chips and stuff like that. So that's going to be changed a little bit, but it's one of those things that when you get a new toy, you got to figure out all the things and all that. So my idea is to which favor Harbor Freight workbench? That would be whatever style that one is. It has the pegboard on it. It just says workbench. It came in a flat pack. Yeah, I think it is wobbly, but I'm not quite sure if it was because how I assembled it, or that I got too much stuff on it. Um, uh, it is one of those things of if I was to actually get a workbench, it'd be more, I guess, the ones that you would probably get at Uline or something. I mean, it's a nice workbench, but it's not a heavy duty workbench. So if you could have everything all tight on that, but once you start really pushing on it and all that, it just there's times it's like going like, is it going to collapse? Because it's made out of very thin gauge steel. I would have to say, yeah, I would have to say tighten it up as much. It's very odd because it's like if you tighten it up, then you can't. Then you have a hard time squaring everything. So it's one of those things of put it together slightly loosely and all that, and then I guess start turning around and tightening things up, and just got to remember which ones you actually want, are still have loose. So, but I would have to say I've been happy with the workbench so far until I started trying to mount the lathe on it, and then it was, I guess, getting towards the capacity where, okay, now it's starting to wobble and all that. But it's one of those things that there's a lot of times that there's a lot of things that you wind up having to learn, and there's times it's like, oh, this is a perfect idea. This is what yes, it is a kind of metal lathe. It's the 7x16 variable speed lathe by Micromart. Not sponsored, but it is one of those things of I want to do things that I do have a 3D printer, but the thing is 3D printers, especially for home use, are mostly plastic, and I want to be able to make my own wheel, either make my own wheel sets or be able to modify current wheel sets on current models and stuff like that, so they have better because most of the models that I have, they got pickup on one side of the locomotive, and then the tender has the other set of pickups. So I want to be able to add more pickups, but that requires insulating the wheel sets. So I have to like take off the tire that's flanged, and then modify that tire so be able to put an insulator on it. So that's something that can't really be done with I don't believe, I'm not skilled enough to do it with hand tools. So that's why I bought a metal lathe, and plus it's a machine where you can make tools. So instead of one of the tools that I'm planning on making is a scribe, basically taking needles and making like a handle for them, so you can use them as a scribe. As in one of my first projects, to learn on how to machine. Years ago, I did take a course on machining. I also, well, technically, I still belong to what's called a makerspace, where you can rent the machines, but it's over an hour away, and plus you have to pay for parking. It just made more sense to buy a small little lathe, because I'm doing small little parts, because model trains. But yeah, that's sort of like what the update with that machine. I got it finally got it about a couple of months. Finally got it a couple of weeks ago. It took a long. It was a long, dramatic thing of getting. To get it here, because I actually ordered it last month, but I had no problem with Micromart itself. It's all the companies that we deal with. First was my own bank, to put everything on a credit card, and that threw up a red flag saying, "Oh my God, here I am. I'm spending less than I usually, when I'm using the credit card, except for rent and stuff like that, it's a very, less than $500, normally around $100 or something like that. And then all of a sudden, here comes an order that's way over 3,000, and it's like, like, no, there's something wrong here. And then it's like, no, it's an actual real purchase and all that. But it's nice to know that there's, now that I know what the limit is, it's like, okay, now I can work to that, and that's what I wound up doing with the lathe, instead of, because it's one of those things of yeah. And yeah, Micromart, I almost want to say it's awesome in some things and then not quite awesome in others. It's, I want to say it's almost like a toy store. It's like, here's all the toys and all that. But the thing is, if you want to become a modeler, you have to go to other things. There's some accessories I want to get for this machine that Micromart does not sell. One is they have a version of what's called a digital readout, or DRO. I myself, little machine shop, which I haven't gotten to yet. Right, I want to make sure I can work with this machine before I start going overkill with all extra parts. Little machine shop is sort of like a hobby shop for machine shops, whereas Micromart is more of a hobbyist shop. They do things like, they have a lot of stuff with model planes, small little dollhouse woodworking. They're getting into what cosplay now, where you can build your own outfits and stuff like that. So it's very good for, as I said, as a toy store where it says, "Ooh, here's all the pretty things and all that." But if you want to be a serious hobbyist, that's when you go to little machine shop, which has things that, they might sell this one particular accessory once a year or something like that. And Micromart does have a DRO for this machine, but it's only for, I'm trying to think now, I believe it's only for the carriage and the the carriage and the cross slide. I don't believe they have one that's designed for the tailstock. And it also requires drilling and tapping with the way the thing is set up, and there's cables. What little machine shop has, it looks like you're basically unbolting the original handles and possibly the screw and whatever parts that are involved. You're unscrewing them, disassembling them, and then putting in all new parts in. You're not, from what I could tell, you're not drilling anything into the castings or something like that. So that's why I'm going that direction. Unfortunately, they wind up using batteries because there's no cables to them and all that. But that's well, I wouldn't say a legit machine shop. It's one of those things of, the reason why I picked Happy Valley Hobbies instead of Happy Valley Railroad. Actually, I was originally planning on getting a milling machine, but I have a very small apartment, and technically a milling machine can fit onto this cabinet, but it would be on the opposite side. But the way I'm looking at it, most of the parts I'm making are so small, I can get the milling attachment for this. So instead of spending another $2,000, which some of the tooling is not cross compatible, which is annoying. Like they got the ER collet sets. There's two separate ones because this has an MT2 taper to it for the headstock, but the headstock on the milling machine is an R8, which is a completely different setup. But when I was saying that, I was thinking about getting the milling attachment for this. We're replacing the compound slide with the milling attachment, where the compound, you can change the angle on what it is, but it's still in the sort of still in this plane. Whereas you're taking off the compound slide and then you're basically having it vertically. So now you can turn around and change it to the into the what's called the y axis. I think it's called the y axis. Yeah, I think it's called the y axis because normally a lathe is considered a two-axis machine because you got the carriage that goes back and forth, and then you got the cross slide that goes back front and back. And from my understanding, anytime material is going into the cutting surface, say if you turn around and put a drill in the chuck of the lathe, that is usually considered the z-axis, from what I understand. So it winds up the cross slide serves the x-axis, and there's no y-axis until you get the milling attachment. But it's one of those things of, before buying all the things and all that, I think it's probably a good idea to actually start learning on how to, do small little projects. Another thing is trying to figure out, where do I want to put the camera? Because I might have to go multiple cameras. Might have to get what's called a test indicator stand that's magnetic, so I can put it in different spots, which might be a slight challenge because there's a surprising amount of plastic on the machine, which in some where the plastic is makes sense. It's like covering the electronics, covering up the gears. You don't need something that's very crazy and all that. Well, hello, train freak. Actually, I do have, other than wheel sets, I do have some of the locomotives I got are missing steam domes, the sands domes, the chimneys and stuff like that. So it's one of those things that's another thing to practice on because they are I don't want to say cylindrical, but they are things that they are cylindrical, but yeah, I actually have one that's really bad. It's like all it is the all is the boiler, the drivetrain, and the cab. So I'm missing all those. But that's sort of what, and also a lot of things. I'm modeling the U.S. Centennial, So in 1876, there was a lot of things when it was being machined, they were round. Get home for the weekend. So I'm assuming you're on lunch or on break. I want to say Jason, but I'm not sure if that's correct. I'm good with names. I'm good with faces. I have a hard time putting them together. So, but I would have to say that's what I'm going to pretty much talk about the lathe right now. I want to get my confidence up before I start going like, ooh, here's a, thing. I know some of the machining channels I've been watching. There's Blondie Hacks, who, as of this recording, she's building an actual steam engine. That she's got a larger lathe than I do, and she also has a milling machine, and also a much larger workshop. Because it's actually in a one-car garage, not a living room of an apartment. But the I want to say the final size of it, so I almost want to say it's a good. I want to say it's almost the size of the lathe that I have. That's how big the engine is. So in order to have an engine that doing a steam locomotive that big, you obviously need a lathe that can handle all the parts. And she does okay, all right. But well, the thing is that people where I work at, they saw what the Powerball is, so it's like a whole bunch of us are. Oh yes, well we're gonna get I guess it's over 1 billion now, so it's like I'm like uh, that would be one of the things of I would keep on working until the money is actually in my bank account where I can actually go like, all right, and possibly turn around and train my replacement. Well, I haven't been there long enough to be able to train a replacement. Both I've learned a lot with shipping and receiving, but I'm not fully versed on it. So the uh, person that's training me, which last time I checked, has not put in the thing the for the Powerball. So yeah, pretty much mega billions now. But yeah, it's a double-edged sword. It's like I usually I play the lottery let's see, I think the last time I played the lottery was at the beginning of the pandemic. It's one of those things that go on like, well, win the lottery and all that. And then I think at that time it was the Powerball, I think was over yeah, 60 million or something like that. Yeah, I usually wait until, well, I don't keep track of it, but when all of a sudden it's like, you see advertisements, hey, it's up to this high and all that. I'm like, all right, I'll throw in a couple of bucks and go from there. But I don't rely on it because I'll just keep on going. Struck by lightning. Well, that is, I would have to say, that's unfortunately that's how they get. that they're designing lotteries like this, to make the statistically. I mean, someone has to win, but statistically, it's going to be you. Probably not. But and the thing is that the way I look at it is that people probably get struck by lightning a lot more than than what is normally thought of. I mean, normally they think of, okay, it's a lightning storm and they get hit, but not many people realize that it's the same voltage, because it's lightning is static electricity in its purest form. In fact, that's where, if I'm remembering correctly, that's where electricity got its name from. As it was, if I remember correctly, it was Greek for amber power, because that's how they originally got it, is taking amber and putting cloth on it, and then that causes the static electricity where uh, uh, where uh, where that winds up happening. And then the static electricity, of course, when you ground it out, that's when the spark comes along. And that spark, I believe, it's the same voltage as what you would normally think of as lightning coming through from the clouds and all that, but it's a lot. The reason why it doesn't kill you is because it's even though the voltage is high, the ampere, there's just not enough wattage there. I was going to say amperage, and I'm like, no, that's not correct either. But it's the total amount of static charge that there is very small. When you walk up to a door, you're grabbing it's like, but it's the same voltage, but there's just not as much massive potential between it. But let's see. Now let's go on to the other half. Did not expect to take that long talking about the lathe and getting sidetracked for lightning. Let's go over here. Confident, no certain ones, just the roof and walls felt like I walked to a ball of statical electricity. Then lightning struck a tree. Yeah, that could, I would assume that hurt a lot. Another interesting channel that I've watched, which the thing is, Blondie Hacks, if I remember correctly, does it as her full-time, YouTube is their full-time job, but there is one that they have a full-time job and they do something. But that this old Tony, and I would have to say he's very, very entertaining, and lot of having a lot of dad jokes and all that fun stuff. But I'm going to be going back to the trestle diorama. And it's one of those things of sort of kind of seeing some of the streams in my area. They're getting low enough where you can literally walk across them. So my idea is to turn around and make this stream, this is a very small stream which you can walk across, and then this would be a much deeper river. go that direction. And also is the sort of kind of hide the mistakes of where what I did on this one is I put the newspaper, not newspaper, toilet paper down first, then I put the Mod Podge on. And so there's a lot of bubbles and stuff like that. So my idea on this is to turn around and cover this mostly with rocks and try to make it look like a low-level stream. No, Humanity Junction is not sponsoring the stream. I actually got this, and I also got a sticker also at Amherst. I met him there very briefly and all that, and he was doing a live stream. So if you go back to his videos and all that, you will see me on his live stream. And yeah, it was basically not nice to meet Heath, but it was basically he was at the same time trying to, at that time, I think, photograph or do a video of all the manufacturers that particular day. So it was a very short, oh, hi, and all that. Here, I have stickers and a pin. So that's how I got his pin and sticker. Right now, the sticker is MIA because of all the moving with the lathe I've been doing. My hope at this point is to I didn't like exactly how this came about, so that's what I'm seeing if I can make it a little bit more stuff. But yeah, it is a pin. The sticker I got is actually a little bit larger. Keith is actually the reason why I started this YouTube channel. He kept on saying, start a YouTube channel, start a YouTube channel. I'm like, all right. Now, the thing is that when I started this, I was unemployed. And I was planning on, going full hog and doing all the things to make it a YouTube channel and all the promotion and all that. And then then I wound up doing a silly thing and getting employed. And so I went from doing something where I didn't really have, I wasn't, I was waking up very late in the afternoon, well, not necessarily afternoon, but late in the morning, staying up way up late last night, into the night hours and all that. And then all of a sudden having a job where it was a 10-hour shift. So it took a while for my body to sort of change it. Get out of here. I have not. Maybe this one it's not going as well as originally intended. But no, I never thought of diluting it with water. Do that nice. Really, it's like almost like a small little dog fight between two flies. Hmm, thought of that. Let's turn around and grab some water and see how well that goes. Let me not destroy everything in the process. All right, I now have some water. And let's over here. We'll try this. Sort of some Mod Podge. Definitely in a different spot. Better coverage, I would also assume. One of the things I'm going to see about doing, possibly making like a sort of a natural dent towards the front. Because what I'm using for rocks, it's actually aquarium rocks. So I guess I could have turned around and made them maybe a little bit more, sift them out to make them a little bit more, uniform, I guess. One of the things I have found out over while living in Vermont is there's some big ass rocks that are up. There's one rock near where I work at, and it's about the size of the tires of my car. There's another one where it's the size of my car. So, but am trying to, sort of kind of duplicate what the streams around here look like. They're a little bit, I think they're a little bit more wider, mainly because of all right, Jason, thank you for wandering in and spending a little time with me today, and we'll see you later. First, with the delay and all that, you might have already been gone. Would have to say that's one of the things that I think has improved since the pandemic is it seems that the thing for time or different things for time and all that have been improving over the time. Head over time has been improving. So since I'm done with that, there. Now, another thing is with having more than one diorama is that if you're in a spot where you're having to wait for stuff to dry, all you basically do is grab it, set it there, and we go and grab the other diorama. And this one I think I got pretty much all the ties down. Actually, I don't. Let's grab the bridge. And the idea behind this one Right, now I got this one came off. There. Just stay away from that side now. But yeah, I'm starting to think that but first I was going to lay down track. I think it might be more advantageous to do the water first, and then we'll turn around and do the then we'll turn around and do the track laying and adding stuff on there before we lay down the track. So in that case, then just the Mod Podge, and I will be right back. With a very fresh roll of I used Stain the Bridges. It's a 100-line kit, and they sell stains also. So that was a using it was a 100-line bridge using 100-line stains, and So and that's how that is. Actually, the all the bridges and trusses I got right now are were made by Hunterline. Let's see. Smart idea, using the water first to lay everything down and then add the bridge. Let's try that. That actually might work that way. It helps things stick. Winds up sticking in the wrong spot. So I can turn around and move it in the direction I want. Since it also breaks up the tension, might wind up also help the Mod Podge go through. Yes. Well, sort of like the idea. How it's going to come out, I don't know. It's one of those things of also contemplating on, hold those spray bottles to maybe move stuff around like water a lot easier. So, let's see. Let's see. There. Hmm. This is going to get a little discombobulated as well. So I think it's with the turnaround and overhang stuff. So around it. Everybody's worried about staying with inside the lines and all that. And nature does not have lines to go inside of. Hmm. Especially right on the, almost right on the. So, there. There. And just throw water on everything. Now the small abutments that I have are a company called Pre-Size. However, apparently, actually wound up able to talk during one show. I actually wound up talking to sort of the new owner of Pre-Size, and when I told him the address of what was on there, he said, "Oh, that was several owners ago." So Pre-Size has been bought and sold many times. And that's what happens to a lot of businesses. You know, person who wants to retire or passes away. Hopefully retires, not pass away. But from there, they can sometimes things continue on, which is nice, and then there's sometimes things, you know, they might not find someone to keep it going, and those particular models disappear. The interesting with these abutments, you know, pretty much being very random, etc. However, they're identical. And all right, thanks to you for coming, plumber. And we'll see you soon. Actually, it's probably a good time to start wandering off, so we can actually see Anthony Dodge, the Outsider. That's one of the originally my plan was to go from 2 to 4, but find out that or 2 to 3, but finding out that Anthony Dodge starts about now. So that's why I moved it up a half hour, so I'm not, well, not only you know, stepping on his toes, but also, you know, I'm also like watching Anthony, so it's very hard to stream my own channel and watch somebody else at the same time. So now that we got that done, I guess I'll finish off with the Mod Podge and all the other fun stuff, and add appropriate paints and all that, and we'll go from there. All right, let's switch back over to the other camera. And we're back here. And yeah, I guess this is going to be the end of this. So for, yeah, the train freak and the Plumber 33. It's interesting that they both have the in the front. Thank you for coming out, and hopefully, you watch the entire thing. All right, let's see. How many people are on this? There we go. Well, I guess that'll be it for today. The way I look at it is that the world needs more love, so find your passion and add some silliness to it, and then spread it around.